and we're down to our fifth one between a legendary rivalry between Tempo Storm and Archon. That's right, we'll have Amaz versus Gaara. What do you think about this match, Gaara?
So looking at this, it's Warlock, Hunter, and Mage for Gaara against Druid, Hunter, and Warlock now. I think Amaz is playing quite aggressively, but I think against the Warlock that Gaara is playing, aggression will be quite strong. But overall, the Mage that Gaara is playing is wreck aggression, and we have the Hunter that's got a Death Lord, but in general not the strongest against stuff like Sue. So I have to give Amaz probably a slight edge because I think he's probably likely to 3-0 this Warlock.
Oh yeah, I mean it is possible, but I guess I have to give the edge to Gaara in some senses because I think that Hunter is actually really good at anti-aggro deck. I've been playing it a lot on ladder lately, and it's I'm just having a really high win rate, especially against aggro.
I feel if Gaara gets a 1-0 with the Warlock deck and gets that out of the way, he's going to be heavily favored to take the whole series, but I think it will be an uphill battle against Amaz, so I'm going to call it 3-2 to Amaz with Amaz killing the Warlock over and over. But it should be interesting to see now. We have Life Coach already advancing 6-0 domination here in this group. Gaara beating board control like Amaz, but they both lost to Life Coach. So for the final match in the final slot here in the from Group C. Now tomorrow we have Group D. It's going to be Firebat versus Thijs and Forsen versus Renman. And Renman is the Russian that qualified from the Open qualifier. And we've had one Open qualified player go through so far. That's Lostov. Now board control sadly did get 4th place, so it's been a bit of a rough day for him. Be interesting to see who goes through though. The round of 8 looks to be quite stacked.
Oh yeah, very stacked. We have Kalento, we have Strife Crow, we even have Life Coach coming from this group, and between players like Firebat that might advance, and like even Gaara or Amaz, that's definitely like one of the most stacked round of 8s that I've seen in a Hearthstone tournament within the last like 2 or 3 months even.
I think to note also that Lostov looked so solid. He played excellent Hearthstone so far. Now Hunter for both players, Warlock for both players, then the Mage. I think be interested to see what Gaara starts with. I think if I was him, I'd probably start with the Mage. That looks to be the strongest against all 3 classes. That Flamer can just, plow through aggro and low health minions there.
Yeah. You mentioned that you thought Amaz would be able to 3-0 the Warlock, but I feel like Gaara's Warlock might be able to do okay against Amaz's lineup because it does have those Molten Giants, which are good against the like all the aggression that Amaz can potentially put down.
Wonder if he knows. I mean, it was a big thing in the Life Coach matchup so far that Gaara was indeed playing Moltens in that. So I mean, the Sue is probably the only one who's going to struggle with bursting him down from maybe let's say 15, but it's definitely possible.
Oh yeah, definitely. It'd be interesting to see if Amaz actually watched the matches actually, right? Because it's very possible because he's so busy. He's busy with the Archon League. He's busy with all the announcements that he might not have time to watch Gaara's games. Might not have time to like see that there were indeed Molten Giants in that deck. So it might be something that Amaz actually doesn't play around, and I think we'll be able to easily tell if he has watched the matches or not.
Overall, though, an exciting series, and we should be going to game number 1 now any moment. But I think I can kind of to mention the Druid of Amaz. The Druid should be in a lot of trouble. Every single player except Gaara has been bringing Druid, and that Hunter with double Hunter's mark should dominate against Druid. So I'm seeing that almost as a free win. So for Gaara, it will be the Warlock which needs to get the win, and then for Amaz, it will be the Druid that will be the tricky one, I think.
Yeah, that being said, though, I feel like the Death Lords in the Hunter of Gaara, it feels like those are weak against Druid because Druid has a lot of minions that have 4 attack. If you can combo something like a Pilot Chair attack plus a swipe, that can just kill off the Death Lord immediately. Then you get a huge minion out of your Druid deck, and that can just snowball for right there.
It can indeed. I think I think to note will be if Gaara gets the coin with the mates, as I think the Flamemaker, maybe except for the old Miracle Rogue, is the deck that gains most from having that coin. Now we're already in game number 1 here. Gaara starting with the mage like we were talking about, gets a Mukla from the Airtable portal, and should be able to trade in as well. He's
Oh
facing
my
Su
god.
though, and Mukla is not the best card against Su. It would have been excellent against Druid or something like that, but
It's typically not the best against Zoo, but in this scenario, like, because you do have board control, it doesn't seem too bad. Like, he'll...
true, yeah.
Yeah, Amaz will be able to get, like, repetitive damage in every single turn.
I think the note though is it looks like probably did have the coin? Yeah.
Yeah, he had the coin, I think. And not only that, but he gets protected behind mirror images. It seems like the perfect start for Gaara.
The mirror image is the mirror image is actually so crucial. I think without having seen that card, it was looking a lot bigger for Gaara. But now you have the Void Terror coming down. The Frostbolt might be a bit of an upset. I think in this case you just have to start going face. When you have so much burst, to look at the Arcane Intellect. I mean, you have what, 9 from hand, 7. You only need 8 more damage, so 1 more round, and you have you're looking at lethal almost. You only see
exactly.
1 Voidwalker from Amaz, so yeah, I think you just have to go for it with this sort of hand. I mean, usually you could play the control game as the mates, but in this specific scenario, you have to kind of play to your hand and go aggressive, I think.
Yeah, exactly. I completely agree with you. We saw the mistake of board control in the last game, not going for face enough. And even though there looks like a seemingly easy trade here with the 5/5 into the 3/5, I have to agree with you. Just leveraging like the minions that you have on board to get repetitive damage in seems to be key. I also don't mind this play though. I still hope he goes for face yet, and that just basically gives him at least 1 more turn in order for him to in order for the images to get some effect.
There's always a debate, I guess. I think a key thing to look at is the hybrid hunter deck, and when you play that deck, you have to play completely differently depending on what you draw. So you can play the same deck. Yeah. Let's say for example you have Wolf Riders and Arcane Golems, you just need to go non-stop phase. Whereas if you have, let's say, you know, Sweaters into Loatheb into possibly Savannah, you can play the control game. So this seems to be kind of the same scenario, as we do know that he's running a Flame Strike, for example, which might come in handy against Su.
Yeah, and it'll be really good against Zoo, but it actually, like, when this particular game, it might not be what he wants to draw here. Because he just wants to get those minions, he wants to get that damage in, he doesn't care as much about controlling the board.
I think the Mirror Entity is the key in this matchup. He's going to go far with clearing, but yeah, the Mirror Image is just such value. Wonder how he's going to end up going for this. Maybe taunt both the Hunter Creepers? Still, he needs a lot of value. I kind of like this. You now can actually clear the mechanical area and still have 2 health left. You can't really get value out of that second Haunted Creeper though, but
Yeah.
gets the spare part.
It's also a really awkward trade for your opponent, because your opponent's already used 1 Frostbolt, so if you trade your 5/7 into oh, he actually goes for that. Okay, that makes even more sense, because if he does that, I have to say he probably should have somehow cleared this Mad Scientist, because now there's an easy trade here.
I think attacking into the Yeti would be better, because then now he can attack with the Mad Scientist without pinging, but if he attacks into the Yeti, he would require a ping.
Well, that's a funny hand that we see.
It really is. This is the best card he could possibly have drawn.
And now that definitely like sends lightning bolts through Amaz's head. It's like, oh my god, I'm almost dead. Does he have a fireball? Does he have a frostbolt? He can't even play around those, because he basically needs a Mal'Ganis somehow. That's literally his only option. He can stall it out for 1 more turn with Loatheb, but he doesn't have enough time to get a Mal'Ganis.
So we're going to have to see Loatheb into... Well, okay, Loatheb into tap, Void Collar. Doesn't even need it. He needs Void Collar and Power Warming and Mal'Ganis for that. It's just too much. He's gonna go for the Lotte though, so that's something. But it's just too little, too late, and well played by Gaara, really. This point though, it doesn't matter at all because there's no possibility of a heal anyhow.
Yeah.
So Gaara taking game one game closer to the round of 8. Now, even though he has one ahead, it's still a minor issue. As we were talking about it before, the Warlock is going to be the key deck for Gaara, and the Druid is going to be the key deck for Amaz. So even though one of them goes 2-0 up even, you know, it won't matter as much. It'll be better, if I was Gaara now, I'd rather be 0-1 ahead and having one with the Warlock than being 2-0 ahead and having one with the Hunter and Mage. And the same for Amaz. I'd rather be 1-0 up having one with the Druid than 2-0 up having one with the Hunter and Warlock.
I don't know, man. I just want the wins. I just want to be ahead. That's my mindset.
Oh yeah, this is so painful when you actually are up 2-0 and end up losing 3-2. You feel so, yeah, especially like the mental game of losing again and again in that case, it can be a lot. So we see Hunter looks to be... Yeah, this looks to be Hunter, right? Yeah, Hunter against Warlock. Not
Very
the
strong
worst
opening
scenario.
hand. Strong opening hand from Amaz, but also pretty strong opening hand from Gaara with the at least the Mortal Coil into an Earthring Farseer.
Yeah, this is ideal. I mean, he has a Mortal Coil on turn 1. Just having the coin for Gaara is a major deal. Not to have it for himself, but to deny it from Amaz. And Vorken, again, this is just 1 health minion after 1 health minion. It's better than having to drop the abusive, I guess, but... I mean... I'm seeing, you know, Gaara just tapping. Possibly gonna go for the owl. Yeah.
You know,
I don't know.
to be honest, this deck is actually better than Handlock against Face Hunter, because it not only does it have the Molten Giants, it doesn't have the Mountain Giants, and it also has one more heal in the form of Earthrin Farseer, plus the 2 antique heal bots. So I think this actually might not be too bad for Gaara at all.
I think it depends on a few key things, and I think the most important thing is how many taunts does Gaara run. You know, I guess Sun Fury, Defender of Argus types. So you usually have 3 in the handlock. We've seen at least 1 Defender of Argus.
Yeah, a card is drawn and just directly pointed it to face. We know how Mas thinks there. He only cares about the face.
The heal bot is at least available, but this literally come down to what does Amaz draw in the next few turns. Does he draw a kill command? Will Gaara be able to find the taunt he needs?
Find out next time on Hearthstone Adventures.
So we have heal bot as the only realistic option, and that's gonna be one-off. So almost any minion, any card. No, it's not one-off. What am I saying? He can trade into the Arcane. So
yeah, so there was actually, he needed 3 damage, so one of these juggles have to hit face.
and he figures he's gonna do as much damage as possible before.
Oh wow. Okay, so he's actually
No.
missing 1 from the hero power as well. So
What do you think about just going for Unleash and Hero Power in that case? Put him down to 1 health.
yeah, it's possible, but what's that knife juggler gonna do for you later on though? That's the real question.
I think it doesn't really matter in that case. You know, if he has a second heal bot, you're probably gonna lose anyway. And if he doesn't have a second heal bot, he's just dead. But now the explosion does come down. Maybe Gaara figured this might be a Amaz figures this Gaara figures this might be a fusion trap, but considering what he's seen so far, it's unlikely. I mean, you see the war consider that basically guarantees that it's going to be a a phase hunter only with explosive traps, maybe one snake trap.
And also, like, your opponent is not going to play a freezing trap into an Earthring Farseer. That's just not something that he does. So even if Amaz like keeps drawing dead, Gaara's going to be dead very soon.
I like the tap here actually. I mean, he figures any damage will kill him anyway, so 3 or 5 it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, he basically he needs to tap for he needs to dig deeper in order to get his Alexstrasza, in order to get his second heal bot. Even a Molten Giant might be somewhat helpful here. Soulfire is not it, so he has to go for the off chance that it's not explosive trap. But unfortunately, that's going to be it. Amaz takes one more game.
Game number 2, yeah, going to Amaz. But again, it's the hunter, not the druid, and so it's really even now. But again, not the most important thing in this match. So druid and warlock against hunter and warlock. I'm curious to see what Gaara queues up next. I think for Amaz, should probably be the druid coming out. I mean, I think druid is more bearable against the hunter. And you know this is full on face hunter. Wait, well no, this is actually no. With Gaara was playing, yeah, it was Amaz that was playing full on face hunter, and Gaara is playing the, I guess, more mid-rangey deck. And the mid-range decks would be weaker against Su, as you don't have the same speed really to get ahead.
Yeah, exactly. Actually, I think this matchup is actually really favored to Amaz. I think, like you mentioned before, mid-range Demon Zoo is typically thought to be one of the best counters towards Malygos Warlock, because a lot of the threats like that you put out there are just have so high value that typically like the Blackwing Corruptors and the Implosions don't handle it. That being said, Gaara's not running Blackwing Corruptors or Implosions. He's running like the Molten Giant tech, Molten Giants, Alexstrasza, Sun Fury Protectors. So that actually changes the matchup like completely around. And I think it really depends on whether Amaz he'll be able to play around those cards. Seem to have lost Caldi there.
No, it's kind of a sad scenario for Gaara. I mean, he doesn't have a 4-drop ready to go. Marilock struggles the most with Su, it seems, overall. And kind of a sad scenario here, yeah, in game number 3 for Gaara.
Yeah, just no action on him. He just needed, like, the one problem that I find when playing standard Malygos Warlock is that you pretty much only have your 2 Imp Gang bosses on 3, unless you include an Earthring Farseer, which a lot of people don't. And you pretty much only have your Twilight Drakes on 4. So it's actually very easy to miss those drops and get, like, very unoptimal turns.
Yeah, I mean, this hand is just really slow from Gaara. There's no Twilight Drakes, there's no big AoE really, whereas Amaz has kind of everything he could ever want. Amaz being the bottom player with the demon, with the void colors there. Gaara being the top player with the implosion and the, I guess, the belcher. But this should be fairly easy void color. I mean, the value you get out of that thing is going to be insane. Looking at implosion, okay. If you get 4, it's better. I'll give you that. But my idea for going for the void colors, you're only going to give him more imps, and this